Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today with us, live or watching the recording. Welcome to this Frequency Mama Community Knowledge Share. And I'm Robin, for anybody who doesn't know me personally or hasn't met me yet. I'm co-founder of the Frequency Mama community, and I'm so grateful you all are here today with us live. And for those watching the recording, this knowledge share and all of our other knowledge shares are open to the public and intended to give you a glimpse into the expansive wisdom held within our amazing community. These calls are also a gift to you to receive wisdom from all kinds of amazing practitioners, teachers, guides within our community who want to share their knowledge and light with you. During today's knowledge share, we will be learning about the Meridian 1 and 2 programs on the Pink app through the lens of energetics and traditional Chinese medicine and electroacupuncture. We'll learn how the programs can be utilized and connected for physical well-being, for associated organ health, and preventing tissue degeneration, as well as inflammation, and how to amplify these programs, by pairing essential oils for their energetic properties. Today, we are being led by Patricia West, a master registered massage therapist, frequency mentor, essential oil expert, soap maker, and knitter of beautiful creations, and wise medicine woman. She is here to teach us all about how to weave essential oils, Healy Meridian programs, and traditional Chinese medicine. Welcome, Patricia. We're so grateful to receive from you today.
Thank you, Robin, for that introduction. I will just give people a little background into my Chinese medicine background. So I did study acupuncture, and I don't needle anyone. I've used essential oils. I don't needle anyone anymore. So I've used essential oils for about 26 years. And I am brand specific now, if anybody wants to talk to me about that later. I use a particular brand of essential oils based on efficacy and sourcing of those oils specifically. But it's not really about that. You can use herbs, you can use Bach flower remedies, you can use essential oils on all of the acupuncture points. So I thought it was so great to marry my background in acupuncture and my knowledge of the body, anatomy, physiology, with plant-based medicines, because you can use plant-based medicines internally. You can light sage and use it as a cleanser in your home. You can light Palo Santo. You can do all kinds of things with herbs. Why can't you put them on acupuncture points? So then that made me delve into, I had an interest in delving into who's doing this training, who's doing this work. And I started studying with some people who did aroma point therapy, oil application, using oils through the lens of the elementals. So I am going to do this presentation from that lens of the elementals, and I'll explain to you what that means. But for any of you that do have your Healy present, what I would do is just get you to open up the Pink app to Meridian 1 and Meridian 2. I'm just going to quickly want you to open up that so you're aware, if you haven't used those programs before, to make yourself aware that there are Meridian 1 and Meridian 2 programs. One of the biggest things that I want you to be aware of is that there are TCM meridians, meaning traditional Chinese medicine meridians, that are very, very, very old. This goes back, many, many years. And there are also 8 meridians in there that come from the VOLL system, VOLL, and I am going to go through that with you. Those meridians are, they use a mapping system. So those meridians are, have points on them that aren't traditionally called acupuncture points. They're called mapping points. So they're electric points that are used with a machine to measure resistance in electricity and vibration and frequency. So those are really cool because those meridians are based in uses for degeneration of tissue and inflammation of tissue. So for example, if you have any type of acute inflammation or chronic inflammation caused by a disease process or an injury, or if you have a degenerative disease where tissues are degenerating, you're going to want to tap into that vole system and those vole meridians, and I'll outline which ones those are. So you can have any type of issue with, degeneration of blood vessels, fatty tissues, connective tissue, muscle, joint, organs as well. And if they're degenerating, going through that process of degeneration, those meridians are amazing for that. Or if you're looking at an inflammatory process, or an inflammatory disease or disorder or what have you. So what I will ask, I'm going to ask everyone to run the spleen meridian. If you don't want to, and you would rather run another one I suggest would be the heart meridian. We are in the summer, and in this hemisphere anyway, we are in the element of fire, the element of fire that represents summertime, which is an outpouring of heart connection. You can run your heart. I choose the spleen for you all because of this information. So the spleen, I'll go into a little bit about what the spleen does as we go there, but I would love it if you use the spleen meridian. It's an incredible meridian. And if any of you want to ask questions, if you just want to put them in the chat, and then I can go back and answer any questions that you may have. I'm not an expert in TCM, but I have studied acupuncture through the lens of TCM. So I have just dove in so hard into the using oils with that sort of framework or that container or what have you. So for any of you that don't know about meridians, I'm going to try to make this information as simple can be, because you do not need to be an expert in Chinese medicine to understand how to use these meridian programs within your Healy, or to use essential oils on a few acupuncture points. So I did throw a few of those in, so I am going to share those. So meridians, when we're talking about the health of the body, the physical health of the body. So a goal of mine for this would be for you to see, open up those meridians and for you to see heart, kidney, liver, gallbladder, and for you to switch that from thinking about the actual organ to thinking about it from an energetic perspective. That we're not talking about the actual pumping of blood. That is there. That is, from this point of view, a secondary thing. So when we have blockages along energy pathways, we are going to have some dysfunction, dis-ease, some trouble within that actual organ. But through the lens, we're really looking at that from an energetic point of view. So a lot of you would have heard lots of these words being used, or this concept being used on any of these energetic calls with the Healy, talking about heart coherence. We're still talking about the actual physical heart, but it has an energy to it that aligns with what we're talking about today. So open and unblocks healthy meridians are essential for our bodies, all of our self-regulation, all of our autonomic processes. So for us to modulate stress, for us to have our heart rate go up and heart rate go down, even any kind of breath work you're doing, that will help modulate or regulate your autonomic nervous system, and how we can just self-regulate. We need those meridian pathways open and that energy flowing so that it doesn't get clogged, stuck, or lack any kind of health function. When those are open, we're going to have great flowing with health. When you have a blockage, we are going to have some issues in our physical well-being, in our emotional well-being. So when you have stagnation, and one of the easiest ways for me to describe stagnation is for any of you that ever have a swollen ankle or swollen wrist or swollen joint, that is stagnation within the physicality. You can have stagnation in your energetics as well. So when you think about, oh, I don't know how to make this decision, I don't know how to move forward, that is blocked energy. That's just blocked, that's just stagnated thoughts. Could be stagnation within your physical body, creates stagnation in your energetic body. It can go back and forth. So we want those clear. So anytime you have illness, you're going to have stagnation somewhere. Anytime you have stagnation over time, that will lead to physical dysfunction. It could be a cold or a flu symptoms, or it could be, a shoulder issue, could be, some type of more serious disease. But you want those flowing to have physical health. That's in general. Okay, so we have 12 TCM lines and 8 vol lines. So vol lines are those electroacupuncture mapping points, and there's a machine that you can touch on those points, practitioner-based machine, and that records that resistance in electrical impulse, and you can pick up things like allergies, the same way that you would do any kind of other practitioner-based intake. So we have the 12 TCM, and I'm going to go over what all the 12 TCM ones are, and then I have a list of all the 8 vol. So you can either take a screenshot of this, but I did make a PDF ebook as sort of like a cheat sheet that will be available to you, but feel free to take the screenshots if you want. So through the lens of the elementals, I look at it from a very seasonal point of view. So we have 5 seasons in Chinese medicine. Spring, summer, late summer would be the one that we don't have in Western medicine or in the Western world. Then fall, and then winter. 2 meridians are paired with each season, 1 yin and 1 yang. Yin is just the deep, the dark, the feminine, and the yang is the expansive, the bright, the sun, the masculinity. It doesn't have to do with whether or not you're male or female. We have yin and yang running through us all the time. What we want is a balance. So you have a yin meridian with a yang meridian, and they rule one of the seasons, and they want to be very balanced. So after you leave here, if you're running the spleen, I suggest you run the stomach as well. I love to run the paired meridians, and I'm going to give you what those paired meridians are. But I want to lay this background so that you kind of understand. Then you have the 8 vol, and they're particular for inflammation and degeneration. So you can run them sort of in tandem if you want, like you can run 1 TCM and 1 vol. They're not separate, but just so that you understand when you see one of them, like hormonal balance, and you never heard of that as a meridian pathway. That is a meridian pathway. Sorry, that's not one of the vols. That's another one. If you see like fatty degeneration, that is one of the vol. So if you don't know what that is, that's because it's not on the TCM system. That's all. I just want to make that clear because I think that's not really outlined too much anywhere. But just to know, if you have that chronic inflammation, acute inflammation, or any kind of degenerative pathway or disease or disorder or anything going on, you can use those vol meridian lines. Okay, so let's get to the meat of it all. So I'm going to go over the paired meridians that have to do with the 5 seasons, and then there's 2 others that are not associated. So there's 10 plus 2, so there's 12, and then 1 oil for the yin only. Mostly I did that because we would be here all day if we went into everything. So liver and gallbladder meridian pathways that you have a program for each one. I have outlined here for the liver has, you can use those. So I want to outline what you can use them for and what they're helpful for. So with the liver, you can use it for any type of physical liver issue that you have. whether, it's a liver disease, hepatitis, cirrhosis, fatty liver, anything like that. There's a couple other things that can cross over, like fatty degeneration you can use with a fatty liver as well. So there's lots of choice here. If you find one program, you're not really getting the outcome that you would desire, or maybe it's not the right thing for you, or if something's coming up in the Blue app when you scan and you're like, I don't really know what that has to do with. Sometimes it comes from this lens, viewing it through more of an energetic lens. I did also map out the actual meridian so you can see. So when you look at the actual meridian line, everything that meridian line crosses through will have an impact. So if you have a blockage in the liver meridian somewhere in your leg, you may have leg, knee, ankle issues that have to do with a blocked meridian in the liver. So that's why I included in here. It's not in the ebook, so if you want to grab a little screenshot, or you can actually Google these as well. There's lots of images online. Liver is one line that goes right through the pelvic cavity, so always rules the sexual organs and the pelvic cavity. So if any of you have heavy menstrual cycles, you have any kind of issue with your uterus, fallopian tubes, or cervix, or anything like that, ovaries, running this line is very helpful. The emotions, it's the emotion of anger, but also sarcasm, powerlessness, victimhood, depression, feeling not feeling seen, not having enough tolerance for something. When your meridian is sort of weak, then you're going to get more of the feeling of like feeling unseen or not acknowledged properly. When you have a line that's in overdrive, you're going to have the anger. So there is a balance here that you want to have. Running the Meridian line programs within the Pink app, you're going to get balance. That is the key. If something's low, you're not looking to shoot it to the stars, right? You're just looking for balance. You're looking for settling out those meridian points and those pathways. And then the spirit. So all of our spirit is housed in 5 organs. So each of the yin organs, so your liver here is the yin organ with these 2 paired. Gallbladder is yang energy. One just travels up, one travels down, right? So that you have that balance. The spirit of you is how you show up in the world. It's how your energy is. It's how you interact with people. It's how you react to situations. And our spirit is housed in 5 of the yin organs. Within the liver, it's called the Hun. And that is all about bringing our dreams into awareness, into fruition. The liver is your planning organ. Your gallbladder, which is planned, gives you the courage to rise into that vision and that plan. So if your gallbladder is sort of out of alignment a little bit, you can have all the visions in the world, but if you have a blockage in your heart and you have a blockage in your gallbladder meridian, you don't have the oomph to get that going. So if any of you have heard the expression, I can't believe they had the gall to do that, that is in reference to the gallbladder in Chinese medicine. The gall is your courage to rise into. So you'll see all kinds of people with, this is an issue that I personally sometimes have an issue with because I have my gallbladder removed. But even if you do have your gallbladder removed, you have the meridian and you have the energetics. So don't think that you can't use a gallbladder meridian if you don't have a gallbladder, or any other organ for that matter. But your gallbladder is the one that often, it's often taxed because of the way we eat in North America. But if you're finding you don't have the courage to step into your power, the courage to step out and make those dreams a reality, you can have all the vision and all the planning that you want. It's like when you map out like a really nice, healthy meal plan and you don't follow it. I would look to gallbladder because there's something there that's not allowing you to rise into that. And here are the lines. So you'll see on the left side, liver comes down into the foot, starts in the foot and goes up into the pelvic cavity, up in through the midsection and in through the ribs. There's a joining point there. That's pretty important in TCM. And then gallbladder right to the foot all the way here. So if you have a headache, sometimes that's a little bit of a gallbladder issue. Massaging even to the head will help the gallbladder. But I'm not focusing too much on the gallbladder, just on these yin pathways. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to throw my whole presentation. So blue tansy would be the oil that I would choose for this. If you do not have blue tansy, lavender will be a really nice oil to use for this. You can use it over your liver. So to find your liver, it's just tucked up under your right side of your rib cage. You can use lavender in like a carrier oil. I always suggest that you use oils blended into something. Blue tansy though, and lavender does this as well. You typically would want a floral oil, but I love blue tansy for this, and there's an incredible acupuncture point that I will suggest to you as well. But blue tansy helps bring that old anger downward. So liver rises up, you help bring that liver down. So you know, if you're stuck in traffic, you get really angry and you can almost feel it rising in you before you just bust. That's your liver energy coming up to the surface. Blue tansy will take that, bring that right down into your foot, and kind of oat that meridian line. Helps remove old stuck anger, soothes old frustration, and it also supports flexibility in life. So a lot of people with a liver that's a little bit overcooked, they're very rigid in their thinking. They're very rigid in their decision making. That's the inflexibility of that liver meridian not really having that flow. And then, of course, it causes stagnation and inflammation. So I would suggest you either put it directly over your liver, or you can also blend it in castor oil and put it over to your liver. That's a really nice application as well. It is blue in color, so you want to be careful not to get that on clothes. It can stain a little bit. Or the acupuncture point, liver 3, right in between the web space between your big toe and your second toe. So just run it all the way in through that space. With the energetics of acupuncture points with oils, you don't have, this is what it makes it so beautiful for the average person to use them this way, is that you don't have to actually get right on the acupuncture point. This is like the acupuncture point and the oil, and they're just doing like an energetic dance. So you hold the intention like you hold with your Healy, and you apply and you just hold and very lightly, or you just massage into that general area. The oil will go to work where you want it. It you know, nature knows, right? So nature will know more than you know where that point is, where it's going to do the work. But blue tansy is awesome for bringing that inflammation down. If you don't have blue tansy and you don't want to purchase it, you can use lavender or another floral as well. Okay, now we get to the spleen, the stomach, and the pancreas. So anything to do with the pancreas, hook that up with your stomach in terms of the pink app. This is my favorite two lines together. I love this one because this is one that is greatly misunderstood. It's also what's missing in Western medicine, which is what I love it. This is the season of the late summer, and we just totally miss it in Western. We go from summer to fall, kids go back to school, and there's no connection to this in Western medicine. So any type of, so I'll go through the spleen first. So pathologies of the pancreas, so any type of metabolism issue that has to do with sugar regulation, so diabetes, metabolism, lipid exchange, digestive enzymes, all that kind of stuff. And any kind of menstrual stress, because the spleen is your transportation vehicle. After your stomach has broken down nutrients, your spleen helps transport that to the areas of your body that needs nutrients. So the spleen also runs along the legs, so anything ankle, hip, thoracic, so your rib cage, and abdominal lymph nodes as well. The emotions, low self-esteem, self-blame, disgust, that just feeling awful about yourself, right? Solar plexus area, you can map these out with the chakras as well. There's a lot of similarities to where things cross, where things meet. This is all, you know, this is all just how we're made. It's just viewing it through a different lens. I love this one because, so the spirit is your thought, your intellect, and your comprehension of things, as well as your intuition and your creativity. And I will tell you, this is squashed in people. So squashed. How many people have we encountered that blame ourselves? We don't have the esteem, and our creativity is lacked. When you find the thing that you want to do in life and you are creative, how you feel about yourself really changes, right? So the yi, which is the spirit of yourself that's stored in the spleen. What I love about these paired meridians is this is not just about digesting food. This is about the way you digest your life. And that's what I love about it so much, is that when you're given information, this would be an amazing program to run immediately after for somebody who you just ran, who you suggested has just done like a resonance scan or a chakra scan, and they're reading through all the information. And you know how sometimes that's hard to hit, that's hard to land. Run a spleen meridian so that they can digest this information in a way that they're going to be able to break down the little pieces of it and really hold that information. That's not about them. This is just information they're given. This doesn't have to impact how they feel about themselves or how they move forward in life. And in the late summer, we talk about this as digesting your summer. So digesting all your memories of the summer, digesting all, because summer is expansive. It's seeing all your friends, doing all this fun stuff. And this is about digesting it. But anytime you have to digest any information that's hard or information that you don't know what to do with, like, you know, when something lands on you, you're like, what do I even do with that? I've been running this spleen meridian for the last 3 to 4 weeks since I returned home from being out from wildfires. This has been one where all this information is coming at me on how people are living now without their homes or the things that people have left with. It's really hard to hear. So I've been running this one a lot, and the heart one as well, like just to let that land on my heart a little bit easier. So there is an acupuncture point, spleen 6. So all you do is you take your fingers like this, you put this part of your finger right on the outside part of your ankle bone, and then the point is right on top. If you're not accurate, it's okay. It's like this dance, right? So the oil of choice that I would suggest is fennel. Here are the points. I did want to outline a couple of things, but I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to go through the oil first. So fennel is an incredible oil for digestion physically. So it helps with even like a little bit of offensive breath in the mouth. It helps with any type of issue you have with your esophagus. It helps like stomach cramp, like actual stomach, not your colon, but your stomach, and really helps to digest food. And it brings a lot of confidence in your digestion. Making decisions, because making decisions is digesting information. So when you get information, you have to digest it. It allows you to make that decision. So fennel helps with that. So if you're having a difficult time letting something land and making a decision on it, fennel is a really good oil to use. So you can use that over your stomach. So your stomach is right where your rib cage meets in the front, like at the bottom end of your breastbone or your sternum. It's tucked underneath there. So you can apply it there with a little bit of castor oil, or you can put it on that spleen 6 point. And you can do this as much as you want. Like, you can't overdose on this. It does smell a little bit like licorice, so some people find the smell a little bit overwhelming, but with castor oil, it's great. The other thing fennel does is it really activates the old messages, so you can retrieve those lessons that you learn. And fennel is the oil of responsibility and ownership. So anytime you feel like you need to step into leadership and really own what you're creating, fennel is an incredible oil to help you digest that and to really understand life's circumstances. But I want to go back to, and these are a little bit blurry, so I didn't realize that until I put it all together, but the spleen is on the left, so it's more in the front of the body. Sorry, it's more in the front of the body. And the stomach is on the right. But the one thing that I wanted to mention to you about the stomach meridian, and sorry, that acupuncture point is a spleen point, spleen 6. The one on the right is the stomach. It goes all the way through the face and the forehead. So oftentimes in through here, sinuses is a stomach, can be a stomach issue. If you have stomach, or if you have sinus issues, or you have difficulty digesting, often sinuses become an issue. So you can run the stomach meridian for that. The other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention with the stomach goes all the way up through the abdomen and then through the chest cavity. 50% of all breast cancers in women happen within the stomach meridian. So I'm going to say that again. Half of all the breast cancers in women happen within the stomach meridian, along that line. And when you look at it energetically, oftentimes cancer manifests in that area because we have a difficult time digesting our life. So we're either over caring for other people. Our breast is our organ of nurture, right? It's how we feed our babies. It's how, we create life for our babies through production of milk. And when we overgive and overcare and have a difficulty time digesting what's happening in our life, we get blockages in the meridian. So I don't want to say use this and you're going to prevent any kind of disease. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is energetically, when you have blockages in the meridians, you're going to have stagnation. Stagnation creates disease, dysfunction in the physicality of your body. So it may be a connection that people don't make when you look at something happening with breast tissue. You may run something else, right? Stomach is incredible to run for that. Even mastitis, anything like that, engorged breasts. Even if you have like a bit of acne there, that is a blockage in meridians energetically, okay? Oil of fennel. We get to the lung and the large intestine. Your lung is the yin organ. It is responsible for, a large intestine is your paired yang organ. The lungs are, of course, anything respiratory. So your lungs, your bronchi, it travels down the arm. So any vessels, arteries and veins in the arm, the lung meridian is responsible for via this lens. Emotion, it is the emotion of grief. It's the season of the fall, and we get that heaviness in the fall with seasonal change heaviness. The leaves drop the trees drop their leaves. I always think of that as the trees crying a little bit in grief. They're also hunkering in and preparing for the winter. But it's also betrayal, sadness, loneliness, guilt, any kind of nostalgia, letting go, as well as the large intestine is all about letting go. Suicidal thoughts. And one of the reasons is our spirit is the Po. That is part of our spirit is the Po stored in the lungs. And that's really how it links to those mind suicidal thoughts as well. That's in TCM is the lung meridian. So our breath work helps restore some of that, helps eliminate some of the things that we're holding, as well as the large intestine helps with elimination as well. It's the moment-to-moment actions. So here is our lung and our large intestine. So our lung is to the left, goes down the arm. The large intestine also goes down the arm as well. And the oil, black spruce. So for any of you that do breath work, black spruce will change your practice. I've said this to many times. So there's legend that there's a story in legend that talks about when all the trees were created, they were given a project to, over the next 7 days, which trees would not lose their leaves, which had enough stamina and courage and belief in themselves that they would not lose their leaves. This is all folklore, but thought I'd add it in. Black spruce totally kept their leaves, and they were given the job of protection and given the right or the honor to keep their leaves all year long to help protect the little animals and be a source of protection. Black spruce reminds us that we are evergreen too. This is the oil that connects us to our mother line. If you have a spiritual belief in God, in Mother Mary, this is that connection to that source. So some people like to use a little bit of black spruce around their navel because that is our connection to Mother. That helps us remind us where we are, how we're connected, how we came here. It calls in a lot of strength, endurance, unconditional love, and our servant heart. This line also it's a source point for, this point that I'm going to talk about is a source point for the lungs and the heart. It's called CV17, which is a pink. So that's conception vessel 17, runs right down the middle through your belly button. But really how you find this, basically I would take a little bit of black spruce with some carrier. Always use carrier with the black spruce because it's needly, so it may feel a little bit tingly. And I just all the way down your breastbone. You can stop in between sort of where, if you have pec muscles, kind of where those pec muscles come together. It's supposed to be in line with the nipple line, but you know, that's never happening when you're talking to a bunch of women, right? But I would use that all the way through your sternum, and just with the intention, do some inhalations through your nose, a little bit of exhalation through your mouth. That will ground you, remind you of your purpose here, and help you eliminate through those lungs. Is an incredible source point for this particular oil. Okay, the heart and small intestine. This is, of course, the season that we're in. It's the season of the heart in the summer and the element of fire. And the small is paired with the small intestine. So the heart is your yin, and this is for most of you, I would say on this call, you know, your heart space is such a beautiful heart space that you nurture, you're aware of, you're connected to, because we're in that kind of, you know, if you have a Healy, you're probably working from your heart a little bit, right? So for any type of physical, for any type of heart issues, heart valve, high blood pressure, pericarditis, anything to do with the pericardium as well, though we do have a pericardium line. But you can use the heart one for the pericardium inside the elbow and the wrist, because the line goes all the way down into that pinky finger. This is when you feel heartbroken, right? When you feel like you're holding on to something, you feel abandoned, you feel like you're holding a grudge or holding energy from a past experience that you haven't let go of, and you feel like you have a wound there. Is great for using this. The spirit is the Shen. You've probably heard people talk about the Shen. That is, sometimes you hear it as the Shen is the spirit of you. Shen is one part that's stored in the heart, and I'll give you an acupuncture point and an oil for that. That's incredible. It resides in the mind. So this is how I would love to link heart coherence for you. Your spirit of your heart is in your mind. This is your choice, your consciousness, your insight, your memory. And when you have a mind that is racing, your heart will be out of heart coherence. Energetically, from TCM, your heart meridian runs down your arm and into your pinky. So when you're doing things that you love and making conscious choices to do things with your hands that you love, that creates an openness in this meridian that will lead to an open heart, healed wounds, and heart coherence. But it has to relate to your brain. There has to be some understanding of your insight in your emotional life when you're talking about heart coherence from a TCM point of view, right? Some of you may disagree. I'm just offering you this look at it. So your heart goes down from your armpit all the way down into your pinky. It also links into your actual heart. And yeah, your small intestine is the one at the bottom. So one of the things I'll note here, anybody with shoulder issues, anybody that goes to an acupuncture and you have a small intestine issue, you'll know they'll always needle your shoulder. So anybody with shoulder issues, you can run like posterior shoulder issues or side of neck issues. Small intestine is great for that. And I have 3 oils with this one, because for any of you that have gone through, well, we've all gone through some point of heartbreak in our lives. That's living, right? This is an incredible power oil. So I layer these ylang ylang and helichrysum. I'll layer these together. So ylang ylang is to nurture the child within you. That is your permission to play, the permission to get up and follow your heart, do the things that you love to do. It's your expression of the who of who you are, your essence, and it's a portal. It's this place where you can rise up into the space where you can love your life where you are. Helichrysum is for our deep betrayals. So you apply ylang ylang to your heart space, and you can layer on ylang ylang when you have broken heart or old wounds that need a little bit of help repairing. So this is when your brain kind of starts to think about all the old heartbreak that you've had, right? Those wounds are still a little bit open, still a little bit festery. This will repair holes and actually energetic sutures over your heart to repair. It softens wounds and helps us let go of the anger so that we can navigate through. This doesn't eliminate your sorrows. This allows support so that you can go through. If you use helichrysum, that's a floral as well. If you have helichrysum, you can physically use it on wounds, and it's like liquid Band-Aid, but it does the same thing energetically. So this is incredible for this is off topic, but if you have a bleed, if you get bloody noses a lot, helichrysum over the bridge of your nose it's just like liquid stitches. Same thing over the heart. But I pair it with the ylang ylang because that is your child space. That is that full permission to bloom, right? You use any floral, helichrysum is a floral as well. Any floral helps bring out the bloom in you, always, right? That's the full expression of the summer. Bergamot, here's another trick. You can do this every single day. It's a great one. So all you do is you take your bergamot, this is not bergamot, but you take your bergamot and you just put a little drop on the middle fingers. And all you're going to do is going to find the apex of your ear, so that the top part of your ear, you're just going to move down and you're going to move forward, and you're just going to hold. We'll do that again. So just get the apex of your ear, so the highest point, you move just down off of the ear flap, and then you just move forward. You're going to just put your 2 middle fingers and hold. So this helps calm the shen, calm the spirit of your heart. Calm down that racing mind that doesn't allow you to drop into your heart. So it helps with ascension, right? So ascension energetically really is deep within our heart. I think sometimes we see it as moving high, but it's really just a depth that allows you to go a little bit deeper because your mind is not racing. Bergamot into ear shenmen, we call it. There's a little diagram there. Again, if you're not right on it, it's okay. It's an energetic dance. And this is the last one of the 5 paired organs, your kidney and your bladder. This is one of the most incredibly important meridian pathway and program that I think that is in the Meridian group on our Healy. Our kidney is our essence. We get our pre-essence, or we call it jing, prenatal jing from our mother, right? That's all predetermined. So in Western medicine, we would think of that as our DNA. We get our postnatal jing or essence from our lifestyle. That comes from the things we choose to do. We would call that in Western medicine epigenetics. It's, what we eat, how we exercise, our relationship, our boundaries, all those things. But the the pre-essence is all determined. You can't really change that. It is what you have, but you can run the kidney meridian pathway program just to help that kidney meridian flow. Okay, so any pathologies in the urogenital tract, so urethra, rectum, kidney, also your sternoclavicular joint. So it's right here where your collarbone meets your breastbone, that joint as well. That meridian control is in charge of that joint. If you're sensitive to cold or you have cold feet, you hear, that's where that line, oh, did you get cold feet? Are you getting cold feet from like getting married or, starting a business or whatever? Are you getting cold feet? That is a reference to the kidney. That is our loss of essence, our loss of drive to do that. It is the organ of fear. So you can run this program if you're feeling a bit fearful, if you have some embarrassment, if you're feeling a little bit unsupported in that fear, unsafe, unworthy, shamed, or timid. The spirit is your willpower. It's your ability to focus, keeping up with deadlines or achieving goals in your life and business, and getting through those obstacles. It's paired with the bladder, so you can imagine this has to do with flow, kidney, bladder, right? This energetically has to do with flow in your life. Kidney is on the left, so you can see it starts in the bottom of the foot and goes up to that sternoclavicular joint in the front, and your bladder runs all the way down your back. Juniper berry. So juniper berry is the oil that a lot of people would traditionally know as the oil for your nightmares. So if you're having a lot of nightmares, you can diffuse this oil or, use it topically to help you with nightmares. And the reason for that is energetically, it is the oil of darkness. Kidney is the deepest of the yin that you have. It's the most internal, it's the most depth, it's the most dark place. So juniper berry is an oil that helps us recognize that dark side, that shadow side, with a deep understanding that that is part of us. It will walk us through transition to come out through that transformation into something that is so much more marvelous. And I know so many of you understand that shadow side of yourself. Juniper berry is an incredible oil to use for that. You can, paired with the Meridian Line program, you can put that oil onto your kidneys, which is on your back, sort of that flank area on your back. Again, don't worry about getting it right on the kidneys. The oils will go to work. They'll do what they're supposed to do. You can also put it on kidney 1. It's in between in the foot, about smack dab in the middle of the foot. You can use juniper berry. Kidney line also, this is an offside, but kidneys are often responsible as well for a stagnation in that line when we have menopausal issues. So if you have vetiver oil and you have some menopausal issues, you can put vetiver on this kidney 1, which helps anybody that has hot flashes, will help the hot flash kind of soothe out. It's not a miracle, but you can do it with some other things. So juniper berry. Okay, just see here. Just one second. I think I might be missing a slide. Oh no, I just skimmed over it. I'm like, where's the rest of the slides? Okay, so we also have 2 other Meridian pathways in the pink app, and they're called hormone balance and circulation. So the hormone balance is the meridian of the Sanjiao, or the triple burner, they call it in Western medicine. It's not an actual line. I'm sorry, it is an actual line. There's no organ paired with it. So that's considered like your hormone line on the Healy. So when you're trying to figure that out, that's what it means. I put that into the little PDF as well, so you'll have some reference for that. But your triple warmer or triple burner, triple warmer, or your Sanjiao is 3 different cavities. So the upper part cavity is where your heart and lungs are, the middle cavity is spleen, stomach, and the third cavity is more your urogenital, so your kidney, bladder. This meridian pathway has to do big time with regulation of fluid, regulation of water, and metabolism of hormones. So all the metabolic processes. They help regulate your give and take in relationships as well. So this includes your depth, your intimacy, and the satisfaction in those relationships. So if you're having a hard time making a decision knowing if that's a full body yes, I want to do that, or a full body no, you'll hear people talk about that. Like, that was a full body yes for me. Congratulations, your Sanjiao is probably really balanced, right? Or if you're having a difficult time deciding, like really having those feelings, like if you have all these opportunities and you can't decide what you want, run this program to help regulate that give and take in relationships and to figure out, like, is this a big yes for me, or is this like a no, I don't feel like doing that. This is the thermostat. Your hormones regulate so much stuff. Energetically, this is the thermostat for energetic engagements. Okay, so if you're having a difficult time managing those, this is a great one for that. Your Sanjiao has the same frequency. I thought I'd add this in just as an aside. Same frequency as the gallbladder meridian. It's just the same. So you could also run, to amplify that, you could run the gallbladder line as well. Circulation meridian line, this is your pericardium line. So these are actually paired, pericardium and Sanjiao. Your pericardium is the yin in that relationship. This is your heart protector, the ruler to what gets in. It's like the jester at the king's place, like what's going to get in and what's going to get out. Like, he's really saying what's going to happen here. So when your pericardium gets overdone or gets a little bit sick, you're going to be overprotective. If you're really loose with your boundaries, too much stuff gets in. Both robs of joy. Remember that the heart's job is joyfulness. And if the pericardium isn't doing its job, it doesn't allow for the heart to really sink into the joy that it deserves to have. So you can run your circulation program in the Healy. So I'm going to outline a few oils for these that are beautifully used together. Helichrysum, we already know that's for those deep betrayals, right? That will really help with all of the wounds. I didn't type it all out here because it was on the former slide. Helps with all the wounds, help really stitch up all those wounds. Petitgrain comes from the orange tree. Actually, it's like the twigs of the orange tree. This is for fresh starts, energy of the heart opens to the tongue. So when the heart is balanced, communication is clear. So you'll notice communication sometimes is weak when you're not coming from your heart space or you're not really sure of that heart space. So petitgrain is a great combination used with the helichrysum oil. Lavender is great for communication. So it helps us understand the communication that is not spoken. So when you have an interaction with somebody and something's not really said, this allows us to understand the unspoken, what's not being said. So this is also a great oil to use with kids when they're having difficulty actually verbalizing their words, or for people that have a type of disability or a type, just who they are, they can't express themselves or they don't have actual physical words, you can use lavender as well. This really helps decode emotions and intonations that harmonize the subtle frequencies in either the lack of words or the interaction or a word that was used not in the right context. Lavender will help break that down so that you can respond more lovingly. So I put this together, these three together, for the pairing of the pericardium and the Sanjiao. Sanjiao will, it does blend with the heart meridian. There is an attachment there. So these used in pairing. So I would do you can do it over your chest, like over your heart. You can also use these in like a little bowl and actually massage them all up in through your arms, and you'll hit that pericardium heart meridian as well. And then over your chest, you'll hit the Sanjiao. Okay, so that wraps up the TCM, and we're almost done, because I'm not going into each of these vol meridians. I just wanted to outline them. But the vol meridians are the lymphatic, the nerve, the organ, allergy, connective tissue, fatty degeneration, joints, skin. They're electroacupuncture points, mapping points on the body associated with tissues and the functions of those tissues. So all the functionalities of the lymphatic system, the nerve system. So when they start to either degrade or have inflammation, that's when you want to use these bowl. The points are actually measured with a tool, and the degeneration and the inflammation come up on these mapping points on the machine to show resistance in the electrical input, or electrical output of these points. You'll see them in the PDF book. I just did a picture of the hands and the feet, but they are on other parts of the body as well. They're based on TCM and electrical homeopathy. So like treats like, right? So you're measuring the resistance on them, not actually measuring the point. And they don't consider them acupuncture points. They call them these mapping points, measuring points. So if any imbalance comes up on electrical resistance within that acupoint, then it's going to register on this machine. Now, because we have the Healy and we have these meridian lines, we don't have to go through that testing. We can just run these programs. So there's 8 of them. They're within that Meridian 1 and Meridian 2 program. And I outlined just one oil for them all. Oops, I'm backwards. Sorry. I use the brand doTERRA. I'm not going to get into that very much, but I chose this oil because this is what I would do in my life, in my practice. This is a blend called DDR Prime. It has frankincense, lemongrass, summer savory, thyme, niaouli, clove, lycia, and wild orange. If you know anything about essential oils, you know this is packed with protection. DDR stands for damaged DNA repair. I can say that here they have changed. They've kept DDR Prime, but they changed what the letters mean. That's what it used to mean. They changed for a little bit of compliance. They can't really talk about that, but I feel I can say that and tell you that here in this call. But if you have any of these oils, you can use them on any of the vol points. And I outlined all of the 8 meridians. I outlined points in that PDF document that you can use this on. But basically, you can even do just a hand massage on your hands with DDR Prime. Very protective while you run any of these vol meridian lines. Or you can take one of these oils. If you have frankincense, you have lemongrass. But I love this blend together. It's very protective cellularly. It helps with damaging and helping recover any of the damage that happened within the cells of the tissue. And that's what we're talking about with vol, right? Any degeneration or inflammation. These are very, anti-inflammatory types of oils. And that's it. I think I'll go back and see if there's any kind of questions, but I wrapped that up in just about an hour. So we'll go back and see if there's any questions. DDR,
amazing. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I hope that served in a way that you can open up your Healy and look at these programs and be able to use them without being too overwhelmed by the information. The Healy is going to go to work, so it's not like you even have to know this information. But I sometimes find knowing you're more likely to open up the app and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get into these programs because I didn't know about them before. I'm just gonna go back here. The DDR prime is safe for children. Yeah, I would do, because it has thyme and clove and some are savory, they are hot oils. I would heavily dilute, like, I would say, like, if your kids are under 5, I use a couple tablespoons of oil with 1 drop. Like, that's all you need of this, right? And you can put it in a little container and then use it over and over. I would do a little test patch. I wouldn't rub it all over their body first, right? A little test patch, because they are hot oils, like the thyme and the clove, they're hot, right? So they can burn. Kids' skin, as we know, is not adult skin just young. It's like different kind of skin. So you really want to be mindful of that. Or you can do energetically, right? You can, on your own hands, and just put it over top of them, right? They're going to get the energy of that oil. You can diffuse it as well. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit, see if there's any more questions. Oh yeah, the black spruce. Oh, so grounding. Yeah, black spruce for depression, suicide. Yeah, so great, so grounding. I would tend to blend, this is not just an oil call, so I won't go off on it, but I would tend to blend a black spruce with something like a wild orange, because it will really help. It grounds, but it also it's uplifting for the mind as well. Remember that the mind is such an important part of your heart space. They're not disconnected at all. From this point of view, anyway. Oh, yeah, sorry. The meridians are on both sides of the body. Yeah, you have 2 of each one.
Thank you. I was aware that they're on both sides of the body, but the way that you were explaining how some of this energy moves, I wasn't sure if you're saying, like, just on the right side, they see breast cancer. Well, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure, because some of the stuff that you were sharing was very on point with my husband's leg pain. And so I was telling him, like, Patricia's teaching us about this, and I wanted to just clarify, because his is on the other side of what you were talking about. So I just wanted to clarify.
Oh yes, they're completely paired. I would tend to use these vole meridians too with anything dental. There's been a lot of people talk about using vole acupuncture for dental stuff. Like connective tissue, like your teeth are actually joints. They're a gomphosis type joint, so you can use joint meridians for dental stuff as well. The other thing I did want to share with you is, see if there's any questions about the spleen, because I just love the spleen meridian. Is if you want to see if your spleen is supported, all you have to do is stick out your tongue, and along the edge, I see it on mine. You see on camera. If you have ridges along your tongue, those are from your teeth. And it's your spleen's inability the spleen energy, not the organ, but the energetics of the organ through the use of blood to keep your tongue up. So if you have these ridges around your tongue, it's often an indication you need a little bit of spleen support. For a lot of women, especially a lot of women like a little bit later before menopause, like 40s, 50s, you're going to see some of these ridges come because we become a bit depleted from adrenal stress and menopause as well. But I would say kidney, I love all these meridians, but kidney and your spleen are the ones I run often. And maybe you're not thinking, go-to program when you're on your period is spleen, but spleen, liver, their blood, they run right through that pelvic cavity. And you want to pair some of those oils with them. You can do an application of castor oil, and those oils right over your pelvic cavity will help as well. Like if you're cycling, if you're on your bleed cycle. There's lots of like little idiosyncrasies, wrapping all of this into an hour is crazy. Like just if you got a little bit out of it, awesome. All the meridians will have like the physical, the emotional, and I believe I put the spiritual in there for the little ebook, so that you can have reference to it, because there's not really reference to on the app within the pink app. So yeah, I'm sure you could find information around, but yeah, I don't think there's any more questions. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Patricia. And
You're welcome.
where can everyone find you if they do end up having questions, or if they would
Yeah.
like to dive into your work more?
Yeah, I will give you my website and I'm not sure if you can see that. patriciawest.net is my website, and if you want to find me on Instagram, I am Patricia West RMT on Instagram as well. I also have some private communities for oils, so if any of you, I'll add this in, if any of you wanted to get started with oils and you wanted oil support, I do that outside of Healy as well, right? If you just want some oil support on how to use your oils, how to integrate them. I love pairing them. I just finished my second level of the Bach flower remedy training as well, and I've been playing around with using Bach on acupuncture points as well. So yeah, there's just so much, right? There's just so much in the land, in the land of learning, right? Oh, thank you, Amira.
Does anybody else have any other questions that they want to open up their mic or type into the chat for Patricia?
I'm curious if anybody feels anything running that spleen program, or this spleen program, as we saw, it's the assimilation organ, right? Assimilation meridian. It helps break down food and transport. So this helps break down information and transport it. So hopefully this information landing will be supportive using that spleen meridian program. Yeah. Who thinks of the spleen anyway?
I think this might be the first time I've run the spleen program.
Awesome.
Like,
awesome.
especially connected to me. So yeah, thank you for encouraging us to utilize that program.
Oh, restless leg.
Tracy?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say like you could use kidney, bladder, liver for those restless leg. Of course, like running the meridian pathways, running these programs is, not going to be the only thing that's going to, help these, some of these conditions and some of these things that people have or are experiencing. It's how much are you using the programs, at what intensity, what other things are you doing in your life to support that, this is just from one lens and from one perspective, right? But yeah, liver, kidney, bladder for restless legs. Yeah. You're welcome, Tracy. Thank you for having me, Robin, and for everyone for having me share. I love talking about TCM. Fun.
I do have one quick question.
Oh, sure, Mira.
The hormonal program, was that, I know that wasn't in the VOL you had said. So what?
No, it's did you say hormonal?
Yeah.
Yes, that is one of the TCM meridian pathways. So your hormonal and your circulation are the other two, and that's your pericardium and your Sanjiao.
Okay, I don't know how I missed that. Thank you.
That's okay. I actually had to look it up as well, because I was like, what is this hormonal one? And then I was like, oh, and I'm like, where are the other, where's the pericardium meridian line, right? Yeah, that's our circulation one. Yeah. I think it's just for user friendly. That's why they have it mapped out that way. But it's important to know if you're into Chinese medicine or you would like to practice that way or work that way with yourself with your Healy. It's important to know. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Patricia, how can we get your ebook, hon?
Oh, I guess that'll be posted in the group, right?
Yeah, we're gonna share it with the recording of this training today. And so I'll share it in the Frequency Mama Community app as well as in boards. So
Okay.
that's where you'll be able to find it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It won't be necessarily more information than today. It's just sort of like a cheat sheet so you don't have to go back to screenshots or whatever. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Another question. If you have the Natural Cycles program, and
Yeah.
have you worked with the Natural Cycles program?
I don't have that one. No.
Okay. I was just wondering if you can pick and choose certain parts of it, like, because it goes by the TCM as well.
Yeah, it goes by the seasons, right? I'm not sure how it's mapped out. Could you give me a
It's mapped
little?
on like a Meridian clock. So every
okay.
every hour is going to like a different organ or something.
Yeah, did you want me to comment on that?
Well, like I have it, and I went through an entire cycle, but I also traveled at the time, like
Oh, yeah.
ahead, and it's so new that nobody really knows the answers to the questions. Like, I'm on the Facebook group asking questions about it, and nobody really knows what to do about it. But since I got back, I decided that I wanted to run it again. But I keep forgetting. And so I've missed some. And when you were talking about, my husband who's got the restless leg syndrome, should do like the liver, the bladder, the kidney, meridians. I was wondering if maybe he could just do the Natural Cycles ones. So anyway, that's my question.
Well, have you tried that with him?
No, I haven't. I'm afraid
Okay.
I'll mess it up. Like, because it was like, you have to start on this day. And I just think I'm just staying away from that one unless he's going to do the entire cycle.
Yeah, I think it's for ease of use. That would be my understanding. I mean, frequency is going to work where frequency is going to work. I don't think that that's going to mess that up. The whole idea with the clock is that your body energetically within the meridians, or just because it's a certain time doesn't mean the other meridians aren't working or aren't doing anything. With the meridian clock, it just means that meridian pathway is associated with that time. So if you tend to wake up or you tend to have like something happen during that time, you can kind of associate with, well, maybe there's some stagnation in that meridian pathway. All I can comment on is like the understanding of the meridians. I can't really comment on the program because I don't have it and I don't know it. But if you're using a clock and you're traveling, you'd want you to use it in the time that you're actually in, right? So if you're, at 2 o'clock, then you do the 2 o'clock one, right? You're not looking at like, where would I be at home?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But in terms of like, do you need to run through the whole thing? I don't have the answer to that. I don't really know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know
Tracy,
the answer to that.
Tracy, have you checked on the Healy Academy to see if there's corporate trainings on the natural cycle?
I haven't, Robin, but that's I'll do that.
Yeah, I would start there. So many people I watch spin their wheels on all the Healy stuff, asking other people who use Healy, for help and advice, when a lot of the time the answers are just already there in Healy Academy. So while there are tons of videos there and they're not as exciting as listening to people who are lit up sharing and training about them, there very well might be answers to this. I would think that there would be a module or something on natural cycles. I also know that there are several YouTube videos where Nina himself is explaining natural cycles. I would dive into that stuff.
Yeah, I have watched those, and
Okay.
yeah, and actually Max asked the same question that I had, and I did not get an answer from him. So
Another suggestion is put in a detailed ticket about this. Like, don't just ask it very broadly, put in a ticket and ask for detailed information in a detailed way. And then don't let them close the ticket on you until your answer is, you have a satisfying answer to that question.
okay, I will try that. Very helpful.
Yeah. It might be the fastest way to just ask corporate directly in a ticket and say, I would, explain your question. And then that way, when it's written out, then you can share that information with me or with our team, and I'll put it into boards underneath the natural cycle program. So we all have that information from here on out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone, we're going to round it out here. If you think of any other questions that you want to ask Patricia, I will put her contact information with the recording of this video. Thank you all so much for coming today. And thank you so much, Patricia, for gifting us your wisdom today.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah, I'll turn it off, baby. All right, everyone, have a great day.